Um, Hello and welcome. This is one of our artist talks with Martina, our beloved curator, artist, and friend. Uh, Balconnection, as you know, is an art initiative which aims to put art in the balconies or other semi-private or semi-public places. There are many reasons to do that. One is the lack of galleries or exhibition places in the remote areas, especially in the remote areas. But I can say that in the countries like Turkey, even in Istanbul, there are most of the city doesn't have this luxury of many galleries. There are a couple of centers. They are mostly take place like Nişantaşı, Taksim, and Kadıköy. The rest of the city is not very active about art. So, like Turkey, many countries actually doesn't see art very often. They see art in internet or in the media, but we want people see actual art by themselves on the balconies or in the semi-public places, if we can get permission in the public places too, sometimes. Uh, so we are uh, part of a very big movement taking place in the world now, which is trying to put public in a position which can demand and access art wherever they live. We are not seeing that this is coming in the very near future, but slowly, as anything about art and culture is, the public will see more art around uh, their geography without having to travel to big cities, centers of the big cities, to museums and other places. So we want to raise the demand for art. With this demand of art, the providers of art will see that they have to give more, and it will grow day by day, we believe. This is Balconnection. Uh, so, because of the shape of the funds and because of the cultural policies, whatever the reason is, uh, almost everybody knows that we are working in with very little funds, and so everything we do is based on volunteers, the people who believe uh, art is essential, art is important, art is not a luxury. So Martina is one of them, like us. He is a very strong believer of demanding art, which is a right for the people, not a luxury, not an option, but it is very essential. So we asked her to join us. For this, first we should thank Aysim that she let her known by us, that she connected us. So Aysim became the actual ball connector at this point. Uh, so I don't want to talk more. I
So I
think,
take over?
yeah, you should.
Okay, I'm very happy to be part of Balconnection. Balconnection has been part of my life for more than 2 years now, and we have made a wonderful radio program together. And I'm sure we will work together in lots of beautiful projects in our in the rest of our lives. And I'm very privileged, and actually I have an incredible pleasure to introduce you Martina Riescher. I have been working with her for a year now. She is a Munich-based artist, however educated in Rome. She has graduated from Academy of Fine Arts in Rome, and she has been producing in Munich, but mostly also in Italy. Her installations have been about utopias and cliches, how they get in the way of our connection with the moment, with our awareness of our surroundings. She has worked around the world, as well as Italy and Munich. She has produced work in Africa. Now we're working in Istanbul, and her works have been shown in many galleries around the world. Her short film, she just directed, What If? It has just started its festival journey. It's going around the world right now. I'm very happy to introduce you, Martina Riescher. Hello, welcome, Martina.
Hi. Hi, Aysim. Murat, Atabe, all the others, Toby, Helena.
And it's wonderful that we could connect through our balconies to your work, which opens in the 16th of July in Smyrna, Fossa, and Fontecchio. The work called Hello World. Can you now tell us about this beautiful work that just opened for 2 days in Smyrna? Merhaba Dünya.
Yeah, I think I should start from the very beginning, because when I was living in Italy, there was this horrible earthquake in 2009, which destroyed L'Aquila and the surrounding of L'Aquila. And I was called 1 year and 6 months later in 2010, in September, to make a documentation, a video, something like that, of the state of the reconstruction. And so I went there and I saw that it was not yet done anything, and you couldn't enter in the very center of the city. And so it was a very strange sensation I had when I saw this city I knew before the earthquake completely destroyed. And so I made this video, a little stop motion video, and an installation. And well, I was always hearing about searching about news in these years, talking of L'Aquila. And so I was very happy when 2-3 months ago, it was, I don't remember, no, 3 months, it's more, it's May. It was May when I was called whether I would like to participate in a artist residency in Abruzzo near L'Aquila. And then I said, this is actually very interesting and very important, because I can reconnect my work from 2010 to the work to a new work. And as it was requested also to make a workshop or to get in contact with these people living in these villages, I said, I just start to make interviews, yeah, to ask these people about 12 years, about these 12 years after the earthquake, yeah. And so actually it's getting a documentary. I made the production of a documentary, but the idea was also that I had to show something in that moment, because making a documentary takes time. Producing it, the post-production takes time. So obviously the artist residency Lab 8, Riabitare con l'arte, asked for a work to see. I was thinking about Izmir and the earthquake in Izmir last year in 2020. And so I said, my work is all about connection. And so why shouldn't I connect to communities which were damaged and have also difficulties after an earthquake? So this was the beginning of Hello World. Yeah, because obviously our idea is, if possible, to go ahead, because there are other places in the world which have the same destiny, and so we could continue to connect communities in this way. So this is what happened, and in the end it was just to make a video. And in this video, these people I made interviews, said hello to Izmir, and sent these hellos virtually through this video, which was projected in Sanatçı, and the other way around. And so this is a very easy way probably to connect, yeah, a very simple way to connect to communities, yeah, because the interaction was between me and these people in order to send something to Sanatçı. But it is important because it's not so easy to get these people in front of a camera to say hello to someone they don't know. So yeah, it was a very good experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and your work has always been about space, but this work is about a destructed space. So how did you experience the space of the earthquake? I mean, like it was as an artist, you know, like with the people, and how did you conceptualize this place that has experienced the earthquake?
I don't know how to. There are so many concepts coming in because I'm working with the concept of space since a long time. So it's, for me, the space was always, it was not an extension like in depth and height and whatever. It was always a dimension where you can meet, like a political space. And I'm always thinking of this word "Rum," which is not the German word, but the Germanic word. This language we talked in Germany like 2,000 years ago. I don't remember how it is called in English now, but I think it's Germanic language. So and they had this concept of room. It was called Rum, which is not filled, something to fill. And so for me, this idea of the space which was destroyed by an earthquake is that it has to be refilled with life. And I started to work on a little video. I just went through these. I went through these little villages, and some of them nothing bad did happen. So there were only 2 or 3 houses destroyed and already reconstructed, but other villages were completely destroyed. Other towns were completely destroyed, and there is still only like a street where they reconstruct something, but there is not living anyone. And so you see it at the fountains, because all these Italian villages have a lot of public fountains. This is something very important for Italy. And these public fountains are dry when no one is living there. So that's what water means in that moment for me. Water means life, but it's not because you drink it. It's just because the absence of water in a public fountain is so horrifying for me. And so filling the space with water, with life, is so important. And yeah, basically that's the idea of the space in an earthquake area for me.
Space has been and has been and will be, I think, your main focus. However, in your last works, you have also started to work with time. And actually, our right now meeting, our artist talks started at 1853. You asked for that moment. And I think that has something to do with your current work that deals with time. So why did we meet not at 1900, but 1853?
I think there is some problem with...
That's the question, yeah.
Okay.
I think there's
Can you hear me? Yes? No?
We can hear you, but your video
Connection problem.
Okay.
Okay.
But we can hear you. Or not.
Yeah, is it okay now? Yeah, okay.
Martina?
Okay.
Maybe until Martina's connection refreshes, I can add something to the artwork.
I have a possibility to have
I think now also the sound is scattered. I think she's going to.
We will try to reconnect, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I add something about the project Hello World as a participant? The actual project, as we see it on the screen, doesn't show much about the earthquake, actually. What we see is the good intentions of people from Izmir to L'Aquila and L'Aquila to Izmir. So it is like the message is the preface of the project here. So it's a bit different in this way. When you don't see the project and you read about it, you may think that you'll see some ruins and scattered lives and some misery. It's not like that. I actually
I can hear you, I can see you.
Okay, perfect.
Oh.
Okay.
what you see is just merry people singing, saying hello to each other, and if you if you ever wonder who these people are, you may search about it, and you may find very interesting facts about this ruins or the earthquake and the aftermath of the earthquake. You can really see what's happening on Earth, about the people's lives, the system altogether, how the system affects us. But in the artwork itself, there is only hope and good intentions. Am I wrong, Martina?
No, you're absolutely not wrong. I mean, art art is something you need to revitalize a system in entropy, and we are actually always in entropy. Our social system is in entropy since a long time, and in order to you have to
Is it happening again? Mm, these days, it is terrible. I mean, I think this is worldwide, these connection problems.
And maybe we should turn off our videos or ask Martina to turn off her video for a while during she's speaking.
Do you think it may affect? I'm not sure. I can.
But she's not here now. Murat, your voice is mute.
She'll be here, I'm sure. Well, Aysim is used to audio without video.
Yes, actually, because I'm a radio, maybe I should tell why. I make radio programs for 16 years. As I told you in the introduction, I made a radio program with Balconnection last year. And maybe this year, it's time to make another radio program with Balconnection.
Yeah, of course, we will be very happy to join your program. Your program is very nice, and it's a really good program, and it will be our honor to attend to your program.
Oh, thank you so much. It's called Metropolitica, and we have been talking about especially politics of the city, and we are always inviting artists from different cities, actually, and it was a very big pleasure to have met Balconnection in Selçuk, first in her balcony, and then in Izmir, and then to have this beautiful, wonderful project in our radio program, Metropolitica, and. I mean, Metropolitica is mostly about Istanbul because Metropolitica is about this monster now who has become, this monstrous organism. It's not a city anymore. It's a monster now. It's invaded whole Marmara region. So it's a big pleasure to have voices from Izmir, Smyrna, Selçuk. So it was. So nice, and Balconnection has also opened up for us other artists in Smyrna. and now other artists in Munich. So welcome again, Martina. So
I don't know.
this is our
Everything
life.
works normally. Today it's just a mess.
That's okay. That's okay. So I'm so curious about why we had to start at 6:53.
Yeah, because it's a little bit a mystical time. Yeah. I mean, probably a train starts, a train leaves the station at 6:53, but you don't make an appointment at 6:53, but you would make an appointment at 7. You would set your alarm clock at 7 or at 6:45 probably, but never at 6:53. So what I wanted to say with it is the time for us is always on a timeline, and it has always to be logical. But at a certain point, time is not logical anymore, because my experience when I was in these towns in the province of L'Aquila is that at a certain point, when you're waiting for your home, yeah, you're living a non-time. You're living, but you're living out of time, because a lot of people are living. I mean, they're focused on the future because they're waiting for their house, but in the same moment, they're focused on the past because that they had a beautiful past, and they're just waiting that the future will be like their past, but they're not living the present time. And so they're and I mean, this is a special situation. But when you think of how things are working usually, when I think of time, very often I'm thinking in the future. Yeah, so oh, now what will I do next month? What will I do at my birthday? What will I do in the summer holidays or whatever? Yeah, but thinking in the future doesn't give you the possibility to stay in the present. Yeah, because you're always with your mind somewhere else instead of in the present. And the problem is, if you're not in the present, you're just producing past, because time flows away, and nothing of what you are doing is something for the future. You don't look in the future. You have to be aware of what you're doing right now in order to have a future. And so this lack of presence is basically what is also giving a boost to the social entropy. Yeah. And so this was for me a very important moment to realize it, that there are people who are living in the past and thinking of the future. But when you do it for a moment, yeah, it's one thing. But when you do it for 12 years, it's another thing. And then figure when you see all these people working, all these people in this kind of system integrated, where they are never, not for 1 minute, not for 12 years, but for the whole life, always thinking only of the future and the past, but they're never living in the present. They are never aware of what they are doing because they're just functioning. And so I would like to introduce this 6:53, yeah, and I would like to invite really everyone, yeah, to schedule, for example, the meetings in a very strange time. Yeah, so from now on, I will try to tell to my guests when I'm making a tour. I will tell them we will meet at I don't know, 9:37, not at 9:30. So yeah, so just to, I mean, yeah, to give to make it clear that time is something which is not on a timeline, or which should not be only on a timeline, but that time is something so individual, and that you have to think of the present, and the present is so large. Yeah, it's so small because it's already past in the moment when you say or do something, but it's so large because you're always you can be always in the present. Yeah, and things happen there.
Yeah. Actually, Martina, in Turkey, for example, the train hours are not like yours, like the ones in Germany. We always have them like either 15, like 19:15, like 7:15, 7:30, or we don't have something because we are not as punctual as Germans. I think that is something very culture specific, actually. So I'm coming to your other project, your short film project, What If? I mean, you're taking things out of the cultural context, out of the political context, and bring it to another space in your film.
Yeah.
What if it was somewhere else? What if it happened very near you? So, can you tell us about your short film? What if?
Well, the short film is just a way to express that we are not in parallel worlds, because I think it's a very, very specific problem also, or it's a bigger problem in the Western world, in the industrialized countries than somewhere else. But we should be more focused on and be aware that we are living in one world. We are not in different worlds, and we just decide sometimes to look away, to not see things, to ignore what we don't like. Yeah, and we are not really thinking of what we are doing, and that everything we are doing here, it's the butterfly effect, has some consequences somewhere else. And so this is what basically the film is talking about. Yeah, in several scenes which seem disconnected one of the other, but in the end they are connected. And well, in the end of the film, it's only 9 minutes. You can see how they are connected. You have in every scene you have another little thing which gives you an idea where it could go. Yeah, without knowing immediately that everything is connected. But in the end, it's in this way. We just don't think about it. Yeah. We lack this awareness. It's always about this awareness. And I'm thinking, for example, in Munich, you can see these mothers who are vegan, and they're looking to buy things, organic things and whatever, and they educate their children to be vegan and whatever. And then they just drive their children with a huge SUV from the ballet lesson to school, and from school somewhere else. Yeah, and I mean, there is nothing actually which is awareness in being vegan, but when you don't think about other things. Yeah. So yeah, these are all these little things I put together in the film.
And I would also like to talk about our project.
Yeah.
I mean, you came with the idea of threshold to me, and it was fantastic for me, like the idea of threshold, where we should actually meet. Like now it's thresholds, the borders are the places to meet for me as well.
Right.
And I had been working on a place of meeting or separation in many centuries, Bosphorus. So you came up with this wonderful project called Dialogues on the Threshold.
Yeah.
We have been working with Martina for a year, meeting every week, every Saturday actually, and working on this wonderful project. It's developing really together. I mean, this is a wonderful opportunity. Can you tell us about our project?
Well, I mean, it's a long dialogue, first of all, yeah. But it's also, I mean, we met at my idea was to meet at the threshold, which is, I mean, you can have a border, but this border is closed. So just think about still this horrible vision about the border Trump made. I mean, it's better to laugh about it, because if you think about this stuff, you're getting crazy, yeah. But these closed borders, yeah, or to think of something which is inside and something which is outside, yeah. But the real meeting, or whenever the real life, is when you pass on a threshold, yeah, because the threshold, you have to pass there, yeah. And I imagine this threshold as a space. I don't imagine the threshold as something where you put a step on and then you pass and then you're on the other side. For me, the threshold is another space which is growing. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because I'm thinking of I'm thinking that, for example, thinking of the Bosphorus with all these travelers, yeah, who probably never put a foot on one of the shores. They were just passing, yeah, by boat and seeing the shores, yeah. But this putting a foot on a place, yeah, it's also a mental thing. It's not that you physically have to stay there. It's more to think about a place as a traveler, but not as a traveler who is just looking for places where he can go, and then when he's there, he is comparing this place with another place. This is not the kind of travel I think of. It's not where you put a flag in the soil and say, now this is mine, I saw it, yeah. It's more that the place puts a flag in your heart and in your mind. So it's the other way around. You don't own this place, but the place owns you. This is the way how I see right now the Bosphorus, yeah. And the Bosphorus as a threshold. This is much more organic for me. And from that kind of place, which is a mental place, you can spread everywhere. Yeah, you can go everywhere, and you don't have anymore this vision of, we were talking about Orientalism and Eurocentrism, talking of the threshold, talking of the borders. Yeah. From where to where you have another view on Europe, and while when you're in Germany, you have a special view and a cliché view on the Bosphorus. But in the end, I think in our project it will be exactly that. We will spread another vision all around. Who wants to join this vision about these spaces, which are mental spaces, yeah, but also political spaces. Yeah, it will be. I think of it as how can I say? It's the only. There is a. Let's say it's a kind of system aliveness, yeah. When you can spread this way of thinking, yeah, that there are no borders and that there are no centers, but every place in the world can be a center, and and your head can be a center, and your heart can be a center. So it's much more organic for me, like this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me also, buzzwords, and actually not for me, probably for anyone who first hears the word buzzwords, it was the cliche of beauty and the Orient and Istanbul, you know, like, and then the materiality of the place has evaporated, and it was a timeless cliche. So with Martina, we have started to attack these cliches and its timelessness and bringing it into our material world, how the cliches of East and West seem from that threshold, how we can look at the East and actually South and North through that threshold. So this is our Istanbul, Munich and Rome project. We are connecting these three geographies, but you have also worked a lot of time in Africa, and I'm curious about your work in Senegal.
Yes, I mean, this is a very special place for me, because Senegal is I was there for an artist residency, but this artist residency was just for 10 days. It was kind of one artist. We are going there. I was there with another artist, from a Munich-based artist, René Landsberski. And we went there for these 10 days, and we decided just to stay longer, because 10 days in Senegal is nothing. And and we had this great luck to get immediately in contact with lots of artists and intellectuals in Tambacounda, which is a town of 90,000 inhabitants in the Sahel zone. So it was in the inner part, talking of Senegal, like in the east of Senegal, towards Mali, and this I don't know how to say, the difference between these incredible ideas and this aliveness people have there. Yeah, it's so strange to see that the system does not function, and that it's lacking every organization. But people are so organized between them that I mean, this means really system aliveness for me, that you enter in a system, in a social system where I don't know how to say, where you're getting so happy, where your emotions are so on the surface, yeah, because we don't show our emotions anymore. We try to we try to keep everything at bay in order to function, and down there the system is not functioning, and so people are the ones who are making possible things, and they have a resilience you don't find somewhere else so easily. So yeah, when I was there, I just tried to figure out what I could do. And so when we passed through the streets, there was all this plastic and all this rubbish, and there were no official dumps. People just had to throw everything anywhere because there is no place for rubbish. Yeah, and so one of these artists, Salyu Diop, talked about this problem, and he is an artist who works with all this material. He just is searching in the streets, yeah, and so he works a lot with tires, for example, and he said that he tries to do something because he knows that the health of the young generation is seriously in danger, thinking of that things are only burned and there are these black clouds all around the city, or they're just put underneath earth, in the soil, and then they end up in the groundwater. The children or people drink because they don't have money to buy water like we do it. Yeah, so they have these wells, and that's it. And these wells have dirty water, and so he is really fighting for the community, and he's fighting for a future. And so he just invited me because he saw some works I did with plastics, and so he invited me to go with him to kindergartens to work with these children. And I said I would like to make these workshops, and so I started to make these workshops with children. And so we started to take plastic bags from the street, and we started to make these beautiful little works where the plastic bags were getting flowers or birds or other things. And all these children, I mean, children are usually working with everything you give them if they have fun. It was more about convincing the teachers to use something they usually see as rubbish, and it worked. It worked because I had two in the very beginning. I had only two kindergartens, and then another 5 kindergartens wanted to work with me, but I had to leave the country because of COVID, because of the pandemic. So I'm still waiting to go back there. But I have these friends, so Salyu Diop and Yusuf Diallo, who are actually working with Balconnection, because Salyu Diop he has a little gallery and 2 balconies, and so this was the way to connect to Balconnection. And well, last Saturday they had the inauguration, but it was raining so much that no one could pass in the street. So now hopefully we'll have the inauguration this week, Saturday, because in the rain period, you never know what happens there. It's so green. I never saw Tambacounda so green like in these days. Yeah, but it's a special. It's my heartfelt project in Tambacounda, and the nice thing is that I have more. Actually, I have more artists working with me, and so I have also this slam poet, Samba Coulibaly is his name, and I involved him together with Yusuf Diallo in my What If art video, because Samba is saying his slam poetry, and a little boat made of plastic, everything made of plastic, Yusuf Diallo found on the streets. It's a refugee boat, actually, a little refugee boat, and I just involved him and asked him whether I can use the refugee boat he gave me. He donated, I can say, in order to make it appear in my film in front of a beautiful lake in Germany, just to have these images which are there is always something disturbing in a romantic scene, so something which does not belong there, but which is there whether we want or not, because people are dying in the Mediterranean Sea, and because we don't see it, it doesn't mean that it happens every day. Yeah, and Yusuf Diallo knows that it happens every day because his friends died. So this is how things work. Yeah. So also coming back again to what is, because everything is connected.
Connected.
Yes. Everything is connected.
So you connect now through the balconies to Smyrna and Fossa and Fontecchio.
Yes. Yeah.
And also with Senegal, with Tambacounda.
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 Yes.
So all these balconies and artists and public are connecting with each other.
May I add something about Senegal? Of course, I don't know how much organization skills are evolved there, but the energy is incredible. Just to see that energy, I watched a 1.5 hour film from Bakumba Art Television. They also have a television, art television there. They have incredible energy. Without knowing a word in French, I watched a French interview for an hour and a half just to see that energy. They are just do it kind of people. It is very, very obvious. When we sent the digital forms of our printed materials, the day after we send it, they just send us the printed versions of the images of this printed material in this very hard situation. The way they talk, the way they behave, the way they exhibit, everything is full of energy, and actually, of course, you can see that from the colors they use, what they wear, what they paint. Isn't it so, Martina? I mean, isn't that very interesting for us? I mean, for the people who live a bit more European lifestyle, it is incredible. They just do it, and the action, it is mesmerizing. I can say.
Yes. Well, I think that is one of these. They are living the moment because they are really living the moment because obviously you have to think the future. Yeah, that's you need a project for the future. That's true, but when you see how Sanyu just sometimes sits down and keeps himself without doing anything, just thinking, yeah, or just talking to his friends. He's just getting his guitar and he is talking to his friends and playing the guitar. You know that he something like that would be when you do it in Germany, yeah. And I don't think in Germany, but I think in the center of Europe, this would be like, oh, he's not, what is he doing? He's not working. Yeah.
Mm.
So there is immediately this idea of someone who is not busy. He's not working, but he's working a lot. Yeah, he's working a lot because you can work also with your mind, and in the moment when he's not busy, he trains his awareness for what is around him, and he is the one, he is the glue, let's say, for all these other people who are down there, and they're doing so many things. I mean, he's going nearly every day to search for tires which could be burned in the moment when they are thrown somewhere in the street. And he's just walking around searching for the tires. And we have to say another thing. Sanyu is blind. Yeah, in all this story, he's also blind, but he is well, probably he is one of these glorious examples you don't find so often. That's true too. Yeah, but the whole community is more aware, and the whole community is like they're making one step after the other. Yeah, and they're just doing a step when they can do it, because sometimes they can't go anywhere, sometimes they don't have money, sometimes there are problems, so they just wait. And they are not waiting like we wait, and which is like, I can't do anything, I'm getting nervous. They're not getting nervous. They know that there are times they have to wait, and then there are times they can do things. And so there is a wisdom in all the people I met. We lack. Yeah, we could have it.
Isn't that universal, Martina? The image of this artist, if he or she couldn't make it to MoMA or Tate or that kind of place, like I can say it for myself. I mean, I'm working like 15 hours a day, drawing and painting,
Right. Mm-hmm.
home, in the cafe, everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
I take my painting with me, and they always think that I am doing this because that I am retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to.
Even in Europe,
Yes.
if you are not officially successful, if you are not earning shitloads of money, you're just a lazy hobo.
Yes.
That's it.
Right.
This is the very universal image of artist. I mean, and this is one reason we started Balconnection, actually. I mean, art is work.
Mm-hmm.
Art is something important. We are not doing this just to get with time to pass by and just for fun or whatever. It's a serious thing, and not even the Western civilization doesn't actually digest this totally.
Yeah.
Of course, if you are Richter or David Hockney or whatever, nobody says this. I mean, they are
great artists.
Careful about you. I mean, Karl-Heinz Stockhausen used to shout people, "You just used my 2 very important minutes. Go away or say something very important." Kind of.
Yes.
Well, should I say arrogance? I mean, they have the right to do this because they earned. because they are officially successful.
Mm.
But otherwise, not in Kambakunda or in Selçuk. I think everywhere on earth, when people see you, for example, I believe even in London, when you start doing some painting in the street more than 2 hours,
Mhm.
they will think that you are homeless. Uh, this is the image.
Yes, right. Yeah, but yes, I was talking yesterday in my in my lesson. I was talking just about this because um, I think the problem is that in the Western countries we have this way to think about arts, which is an academic art. And there is always they distinguish always between high art and low art. Yeah. So, for example, street art is something nice to see, but it's not for a museum. For the museum, there are these works which are like full of theory, or I mean, it's there is still this cliche that an artist has to be, yes, crazy, absolutely, but but the artist has to be also one who knows what he does. There has to be a concept, there has to be an idea, and this idea has to be in part of a timeline. Yeah, part of a timeline, part of which gives them afterwards the possibility to enter in art history. So this is what we are basically thinking of art. And then you're going to Tambakunda, where Salyu Diop makes these workshops with children, introducing art to them, but not as something they have to learn, but as something which gives them the possibility, a perspective for the future, because it's not there is no high and low art, and everything you do, every thing you do in a creative way, is already a step forward, because it could give you in the end a possibility to earn some money. So we are talking. They don't distinguish between art and how is it called? Craft. Yes, there is no art and there is no distinction between arts and crafts, and this gives and everything they do is has a social impact. Yeah, and we are having these kind of projects also in the rest of the world, but a huge part of people who are thinking of art are still thinking that the only art you will find them in a museum and not outside. So what we are doing, all of us here in the meeting, is another way to live art. Yeah, and it's more about to bring together forces, to bring together ideas and to spread these ideas. Now to come together on a common project where we involve others, and then to spread this energy in order to get going to a process. There has to be a process which starts. Yeah, a process which gets also a process where others can take part. Yeah, so we are making participatory art projects, but not only for other artists, but also for who wants to join, who wants to meet. And this is this kind of political space I'm talking about. Yeah, this room which can be filled. Yeah, which is and sometimes I think as an artist, my way to think of an artist is that I have to be, I can be this room. I don't have to participate necessarily, but I can be this room, or I can give this room to others to fill. And this is much more important. This is much more important than making something on your own, and that's it. Right now, I think this is a way to keep this system alive, or to put more aliveness in the system, which is destroying itself. Yeah, and this is what we are doing, and this is so important. So that's why I love also Balconnection, because we are basically all working on the same idea, but every one of us probably has another. It's the same vision and another way to another hand. Yeah, my hand is like this, and your hand is different. So, but what's necessary, of what I think what is really important is you don't have to see the artist or the hand of an artist. You just have, I mean, to think of a hand with a ball, with a little ball, a red ball. And what you have to see of the artwork or of the idea is not the artist with this ball in his hands, but the moment when he throws the ball in the air, and you can see the ball in the air without the artist and the hand, because that's the energy. And this is the energy we have to transmit. And this is the energy we need to spread wherever it is possible.
I may say, as Balconnection, we are a bit hybrid about this kind of things. I mean, we are not emphasizing on participating art projects. We are sympathetic to it. We love to join, participate in that kind of events, activities. But we also back up the solo artist who doesn't want to participate with anyone else and do his or her job. What I meant was, we always categorize in some way, not digitally, but analogically. I mean, the good art, bad art, whatever. But what I mean is, not the craftsmanship, but dedication, for me, is a level of art. High art is more dedicated art for me. If you're thinking about art or whatever you are going to do for 20 hours a day, whatever you do, you may be academic, or you may be an outsider, whatever you are, then this is high art, because you are thinking about it highly. This was what I meant. But this is very much against the rules of society in general, in the East, in the West, in Africa, whatever. So the people always have this tendency to see us as leeches, who just spend the money borrowed from other people's sweat, or inherited somewhere, somehow, and this bohemian image is a part of this.
Yeah.
He or she just spent the spend everything for this bohemian life. No, yes, we spend it for art, not for that bohemian life. We don't love it. We are just we just live like this because we can't live higher.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit the condition, I think, of all the artists who don't make it in the art temples. Yeah, I'm always thinking of how much I don't like to talk about these famous names, although there are some artists who are really great, but mentioning them sometimes it's difficult for me. Just because of this.
I didn't give the names just to
Yes, right.
that look bad. I mean, I love all these artists. I
Yes.
mean, I love Richter.
Yeah.
But
Me too.
the images of people are very different from the rest of the artists. And there's a huge gap between. I mean, it's not a smooth,
No.
there's nothing like this. I mean, either you're a failure or a success.
I mean, yeah, this is exactly how the postmodern world works. Yeah, you don't have anymore a middle class, but you have a middle class which is going towards we are not surviving anymore, and you on the other side you have this upper class which has more and more and more money, and there is nothing in between. So everything seems like always having this gap getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and this, in a certain moment it will end in chaos if we continue like this. And that's why we have to keep strong, I think, because our utopias are the ones who can give actually a boost to the system. Although it takes time and although it's not so easy, but it can give a boost to the system.
I think we're approaching the end of the talk, but are there any other questions, maybe from our guests? Are there any questions to Martina? Or it has been a lovely talk, and we have yes.
I think maybe I want to thanks to you because you introduced Martina to us and you support us from beginning of Balconnection. Actually, before Balconnection, you support our this kind of rebel movements in art. And actually, I want to thank you to Martina. She supports us as artists, as curator, and as Balconsul. And it was just a dream to reach to L'Aquila and to Fossa and Focino or Fontecchio. Fontecchio, and yes. Actually Tambakunda, and because of your Hello Words project, we start a kind of collective art project in Selçuk, who some of our friends participate to your project, and we could exchange these videos and it was, I think it was the first our collective art project in
Yeah.
this season. Yeah.
It was a great experience. I mean, all our volunteers became directors and stars of movies, films. Some were very sympathetic, some were very nice. I mean,
And this is the connection we love. We love.
Yes.
this is how we actually dreamed of putting art, pushing art into public. This is the nice way. I mean,
Yes.
Thank you very much for all of you, and thank you to Helena and Margit and the other friends who participate to our session.
And thank you for connecting us.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, absolutely. This was the most important.
Yes.
Thank you, Aysim,
It's
so much. And
it's
well,
always a pleasure.
we will meet Saturday.
Yes.
with our new ideas.
Yes.
Okay.
Hope to come to face meetings.
Yes,
All together.
absolutely. Yeah, we have to.
In Izmir.
Yes.
Izmir and
Selçuk.
Istanbul is waiting. I know.
Yes. Okay. Have a wonderful night. And
Yes.
see you guys as soon as possible. Okay. Bye.
See
Ciao.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you, Helena. Thank you, Margit. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.